Pride is one of the three elements or points of sin. There are three elements and points of sin, and we want to look at that. Let's turn to 1 John chapter 2, and we're going to look at verse 16. It says, for all that is in the world, when it's talking about all, it's talking about all. It's talking about all sin. It says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. This is sin in a nutshell. This is any kind of sin you can think of. Any kind of sin that you can be tempted with will come through these particular 3 points right here. This is Satan's instruction manual. This is his protocol. This is what he does when he tempts people. And we will see that because let's look at Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15 first of all. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 14. And I'm going to read 14 and 15. It says, seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like we are. And here he's talking about in all 3 elements is saying that Christ was tempted. Just like we are. He was tempted from the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. So let's look at that now. Let's look at how Jesus was tempted in all 3 points. Let's look at Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 10. Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungry. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. Okay, now we see that the devil is tempting Jesus. And notice now he's trying to appeal to the lust of the flesh. Because Jesus was hungry. Now he's telling Jesus to turn these stones into bread. So he want to appeal to Jesus through the lust of the flesh. But let's look at the next one he tries. Because Jesus just rebukes him. He says, and when he answered, he said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. It says, then the devil taketh him up into the holy city and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, his angels shall give, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou shalt dash thy foot against a stone. So now Satan is trying to appeal to him through the pride of life. Because now he's saying, yes, you're the Son of God. Cast yourself on down. He's trying to get Jesus to get into that kind of attitude like most of us probably would have done and been like, oh, sure, I am the Son of God. Sure, let me just jump on down here and show you who I am. So he was trying to appeal to Jesus' the pride of life with Jesus. So now he's going to attack Jesus through the lust of the flesh. And through the pride of life, there's only one more that he can even come with Jesus at. And let's look at that. It says, and Jesus said unto him, it is written, again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. And again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and saying to him, all these things will I give thee, if thou will fall down and worship me. Then said Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. The only one was left was the lust of the eyes, because now Satan wants to show Jesus something. He want to make things appealing to his eyes that might turn him. So we see here where Jesus was tempted in all 3 points: the lust of the flesh, the lust of eyes, and the pride of life. And now let's look at something else. Let's go all the way back to the very beginning. Let's go all the way back to Genesis, when Satan first tempted the woman in the garden. And let's see if we can't see this same 3 points in which he tempts this woman. Let's look at Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 6. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yeah, has God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die, for God doeth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be like as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, first of all, she's being appealed to by the flesh. By the lust of the flesh, because she saw that the food was good for the tree, that it was good for food. So now she's being tempted with the lust of the flesh. But now it says, and that it was pleasant to the eyes. And here we see now she's being appealed to by the lust of the eyes. And here it goes. And a tree desired to make one wise. There you go, right there. The pride of life. She's wanting it she's lusting after it according to food and the lust of the flesh. And she's also lusting at it with the lust of the eyes, because, and also she is lusting, or she's desiring that pride of life, because now she wants to be wise. And that's how Satan comes to us. He always try to get us to fall into the same condemnation that he was in when he was being in heaven. And that's the way he was. He fell from those same elements. Though he's the father of sin, and he fell from these things. And that's what he tried to get us to do. He tries to get us to fall into those same elements over and over. So that's very interesting. You could see his MO. You can tell how people was going to be tempted. But the pride of life, I included this here, because the pride of life is like one of the main sins that the devil would try to get us at. Because he feel like if he can't get us in anything else, he can get us dealing with the pride of life. There are 7 attributes from which pride comes from. 7 attributes or traits or characteristics, qualities or glory. Remember that, because when we go into this message, when you're looking at the words trait, or you're looking at characteristics, or qualities, or when you're looking at the word glory, they all have the same meaning. So, but there are 7 of these particular characteristics or traits that pride comes from. And of course, once you get pride, or once you operate in any of these characteristics, certainly there's going to be a distinction, or there's going to be some type of comparison. You're going to start comparing yourself with someone else. So that's like one of the beginning things of pride. You start comparing yourself with someone else. So let's look at these things, these 7 attributes. The 7 attributes are achievements, abilities, fame, knowledge, position, possession, and reputation. I don't care what kind of trait you have, what kind of ability you have, all of them going to be in these 7 attributes. You can find them all within these 7 attributes. And it's very interesting that it would be 7 of them. Now remember, Paul said, he had already mentioned that knowledge puffs up, or other words, knowledge will make you prideful. He mentioned that, but he didn't go into all the things, all the traits that will actually make you prideful. But he did mention that, when he was speaking to the church of Corinthians. He let them know that he didn't say that knowledge may puff you up or knowledge could puff you up, but he said knowledge will puff you up. It's automatic. Anytime you start getting knowledge in the Word of God, it automatically brings pride. And if you don't know where you are, if you don't recognize it, there's nothing you can do about it. But see, we're going to know about it tonight because we're going to understand this whole situation. We're going to keep ourselves from being prideful because no one is exempt from it. And it comes 2 many ways. Let's look at Isaiah chapter 23, verse 9. The Lord of hosts has purposed it to stain or break or defile or dishonor. To break or defile the pride of all glory. Now remember I said that trait, qualities, characteristics, all of these mean glory. And it's also saying that pride comes from all glory. That's what we just read. Let me read it again. And the Lord of hosts has purposed it to stain or to break the pride of all glory. Pride comes from glory. And of course, it's not a sin for us to have, to operate in attributes. Because God gives us attributes. But the problem is when we start taking credit for them. That's when the problem comes in. But it's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with us having attributes. It's just, when we start taking credit. And we're going to look at things, pride doesn't have to be on a big level either. You don't have to be lifted up with pride because, you are some big time celebrity, or because you have millions of dollars. A person can be very prideful and lifted up on a very small level. Some people, just because they have the newest phone, the newest iPhone, can be extremely prideful about it. Whereas someone else could be extremely prideful because they own the cell phone company. So, it could be on a small level, it could be on a big level. But however, pride, comes in many ways, and people can be lifted up with the smallest things.